welcome to the Silhouettes of Success podcast with your host, successful entrepreneur, broker, and business mentor, Amber Weitzer. Because success comes in all shapes, sizes, and styles, the Silhouettes of Success podcast is shining the light on industrious women with a collection of curated conversations of intentional inspiration designed to inspire your heart, ignite your mind, feed your soul, and gift you with actionable insights directly from inspirational, everyday women who've shown tenacity, grit, and grace, having taken on the challenges in their lives and business and won. Remarkable, down-to-earth, and relatable, Amber and her guests will share with you uplifting and extraordinary real-life success stories, motivational ideas that just might help spark something within you. With the deepest desire to serve you, help you grow, so you can begin to shine the light that will illuminate your very own silhouette of success. So, let's get to it.
Hello and welcome to the Amber Weitzer podcast, Silhouettes of Success. Our VIP featured guest is a multifaceted actress, TV host, speaker, and coach. She has appeared in numerous films, TV shows, national commercials, corporate videos, and print campaigns. She has done everything from hosting morning talk shows to traveling the country in an RV to interviewing celebrities on the red carpet. She is an expert, raising my hand, in teleprompter and media skills and has been asked to train people, including country music artists who have their own show on the Country Network, along with the chief strategist of Standard & Poor's, with a weekly online show and frequent appearances on CNN and MSNBC. As a voiceover talent, she has voiced thousands of radio and TV commercials, along with multiple animation and anime characters. She is best known for voicing her character of Pan in the popular anime series Dragon Ball GT. And she has her own YouTube channel, Anime Adventures with Elise. Silhouettes. Drum roll, please. Let's welcome Elise Baughman to the show. Hello, Elise. How are you?
Hello, Amber. I am so good, and I'm happy to be here. Thank you.
Well, thank you. And for the audience, once you get to hear her, but once you get to know her and you go explore and check her out even deeper and follow and connect with her and support her, Elise, you're just an absolute joy. Anytime I see or think of you, it just lights up my world instantly. So thank you for taking time to share your silhouette of success with us.
Well, thank you. Well, I feel the same about you. We've had the opportunity to hang out in person, and I absolutely loved you from the moment we first got to know each other. So it's a joy to get to talk with you again.
Oh, that's fantastic. Thank you. Thank you. All right. So it is all about you. So to help illustrate, the shaping of your silhouette of success, I always like to start the show off and just let you share a little bit of your background and story with the audience. So stage is yours.
Okay, well, so I'll start with what I do now. And I am an on-camera actor, a voice actor, a voiceover and on-camera coach. I also am a speaker and MC and executive coach. So a little bit of everything, but it's all in the entertainment arena. But that is not where I started at all. So these things are things that I never in a million years imagined I would be doing, because I actually majored in accounting. I got my MBA. I really thought that I was going to go down the corporate track. Actually, what I planned to do when I wrote out my plan at 18 years old, I thought I was going to work for a couple of years, be a stay-at-home mom, and the rest was history. And I was just going to have the degree to fall back on. So I really just never planned to be an actor. But man, it is something that I absolutely love doing. And I love coaching. I love acting. I love speaking. So I really am enjoying what I'm doing. And I'm glad that my plan at 18 did not work out. So that's kind of my Cliff's Notes version of me.
So the alarm clock goes off. For into the audience, I only mentioned a teeny portion of what's in the bio and on your website and all of those things. With everything that you have going on, the alarm clock goes off for you on your work or business day,
Mm-hmm.
what might a day in the life look like for you? Because of course, everyone tunes in to look and oh, look what she's got going on. How does she do it? Maybe there's some best practices. So are you structured with a routine, or are you more of a spontaneous spirit?
Well, it does look differently every day. And it's funny. So I am a structured person, especially, having that background in accounting. I always say, I think God has a sense of humor because I like structure in my life. And he kind of went, we're going to take that structure out and make her an actor. Because as an actor, there's no structure. You may think you have your day planned at 5:30 p.m. and then you get an audition or you get a booking and you find out at 5:30 p.m. that you have to be up and be somewhere at 9 a.m. the next morning. And so if I don't have anything by 5:30 or 6, I know I'm pretty good for the next day. So it really just differs each day. And so what my day to day may look like, I may have an audition one day, I may have a job one day, either on camera, voiceover. I may be coaching people because I coach privately and coach group classes. I also do Comic-Cons and anime conventions, primarily as the voice of Pan on Dragon Ball. You mentioned Dragon Ball GT, but I've done other characters as well. I also have a son, so my husband and I, family is really important. So I do family things and I have that flexibility. But you also asked, am I structured or free spirited? I am structured. So even within the chaos, I like to set goals and set actionable items. And on a day-to-day basis, I do what I call time blocking. If people are familiar, they've probably heard that term or maybe not, but I time block out my day. My husband jokes with me. He'll always say, like, have you time blocked any spontaneity? Oh yeah, we're going to be spontaneous from 3 to 4 p.m. So don't you worry. So I do create structure because I'm the type who believes structure creates freedom. And so now I usually time block in the morning because I don't know what my days will always look like, but I like to have that structure in my life. So I'm a planner for sure.
Like that that's so funny. He clearly knows you so well.
Oh, he knows me so well. Yes, it's a big joke in our family. I mean, even as an actor, because actors are stereotypically known as, more artsy and free spirited. And I was in an improv troupe and I was the one who had the little Excel spreadsheets with everybody's contact info and I made notes and handed them out. And so we even created a character who was very nerdy and structured based on basically me. So I'm that girl.
We all need that girl. We all need that girl. Oh, that's great. Going back and talking about, you mentioned your 18-year-old self plan and that didn't go that path for you.
Mm-hmm.
Who do you think most influenced you, and maybe it was more supported you as you embarked on this path?
Ooh, I don't know where that idea came from. I know I was in grad school, and so I was super involved in sports and all the clubs and all the things in high school and college and in undergrad. And then, you kind of get kicked out of all the clubs in grad school and you can only do school. And that's when I discovered TV because I was not a big TV watcher before then. And I was like, oh, y'all, have you seen this thing called TV? This is fantastic. And that's when I got interested in acting. So I think it was just discovering TV. And there was not much where I went to school, undergrad and grad school, Louisiana Tech, and there wasn't a lot of acting. There was theater. It was when I got to Dallas that one of my best friends from high school, he gave me an acting class as a gift. So he was the first one to kind of push me in that direction because I was just talking about it at that time. And I took an acting class, and it's funny, I knew nothing about acting. I had done a church play in 8th grade, and that was about the extent of it. And then along the way, I had so many people who were supportive and encouraging. Like my acting teacher said, oh, you should get an agent. I was like, I don't know what that is, but I'll take one of those. But I had, a supportive acting teacher. I had a supportive friend. I always have the support to my family and friends, even though they may not always understand what I'm doing. And then I'm also the type to ask a lot of questions when I don't understand things. So I asked a ton of questions along the way. So I think, it's that cliche, it takes a village. And so I think I had a village, and if they weren't interested, I drug them along anyway.
Here's where we're going, team. Let's do it. Let's do it.
Let's do it. Because I know my parents were shocked because I did quit my corporate job at one point to go to LA to pursue acting. And it was hard for them to grasp because they were like, okay, wait, you did business and got your MBA, and I was working as a financial analyst in a defense company. When I quit my job to be an actor in LA, they could not understand that at all. It was very confusing for them. So I put my persuasive speech skills to the test to convince them that this was going to be okay.
Wow. And looking through the eyes of a parent too, the stability factor, and then the walking the trapeze without the net.
Yes.
Or not walking the trapeze, walking the tightrope. Oh my goodness.
Walking the tightrope.
Yeah, tightrope, not trapeze.
Or swinging on the trapeze, or all of the above. Yes.
Oh my goodness. Yes. I think we can now understand that thought process too, as parents and switching those shoes. But how exciting, and the courage for you to do that.
Yeah, it was hard. It was the first thing, because I was a rule follower, and I still am, but it was the first thing that, I'd done things that I wanted to do, but everybody agreed with me. It was really the first thing that I did that people didn't agree with me at first when I made that move. And at first, the first time I went to LA, it was only a summer, but it was the first thing that I really had to go, okay, I'm making this decision on my own. So it was really probably one of the times where I can look at it and go, that was a huge period of growth as far as my maturity as a person, because I was doing something all on my own, and I had to put my, foot down and go, okay, I'm going to do this, and I'm going to make it work, and I'm going to, convince people that it's okay, and it's going to be okay. And, back to the spreadsheets, I made an Excel spreadsheet, and I budgeted it out and figured out how I was going to handle it financially and make things work, and what classes I was going to take as an actor and where I was going to live. So I was very practical about it at the same time, even though it sounded crazy. But it was a big period of growth, and man, I'm so glad I did it.
It's the times that maybe we forget what we're capable of. And then you could tie back to that and say, you know what? Bam. I did that then. And I was, wow. As an independent, if you will, talent, where do you turn to for support? You've mentioned a couple of support systems and people in your life, but talk to us about that.
Yeah, well, the simple answer is faith, family, and friends. So my faith is really important to me, to my whole family. So my husband, my son, and then my, immediate family. So that's definitely a great support. My family is close. And then I have great friends, and then just a great network of people. So I feel like if within that system, if I can't find the resources I need, I'm never afraid to, I mentioned I asked a bunch of questions. I'm never afraid to reach out to people and ask questions and figure out the answer if I need something, if I need guidance, or if I need help. So I feel like there are multiple places where I get that support.
That's fantastic. You mentioned earlier how your days can be a little unpredictable until that 5:30 or 6 p.m. window hits. Depending on, and you're traveling, I watch, you're doing all these crazy fun, just fun things. There might come a time where you need to recharge or rest your mindset after maybe an exhausting day. Do you have any tips and tricks? I mean, how do you kind of recharge and reset yourself?
Yes, you're right. I have been traveling a lot, more than I expected, going to these Comic-Cons and conventions, and I'm teaching classes, group classes. And One of our favorite things as family is movie night. So it's as simple as that, just movie night. And we have a popcorn place in town. We love to get popcorn. And we love animated stuff. We binged watched Harry Potter and Star Wars. So I love that. And then if it's ever just me, kind of the same thing, just TV or reading or some boring in the sense of just like recharging your battery and just being still.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Love that.
Because I am very extroverted, but I think even most extroverts would tell you that they also need that alone time.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Mhm.
I was going to ask, do you think you're an expressive personality?
I think so. It's funny. I was at a convention this weekend and we were all sitting around talking about whether we were extroverts or introverts. And there was a mix of both. There were mostly voice actors at the table, and there were a mix of both. But even the extroverts at the table said, I go to these conventions and get energized by all the people, but then I still need to come home and just go, like, and have my time to myself where I recharge and wear my yoga pants, even though I don't do yoga, and just do nothing.
Oh, those are valuable times. They really are. They really are.
Yeah. You need ways to recharge your battery. I mean,
yes, completely.
uh-huh.
Yeah. I know it's so funny because now that we have those, they call them smart devices. I think I would beg to differ anymore. I think mine is doing the opposite for my brain. However,
Probably so.
yeah,
Mine
but we
too.
see that, the battery, the symbolic battery, and we deplete. I think we need to pay attention to that for ourselves too, don't you?
I do. I taught cheerleader camps in college, and you were always on, and I loved it. But there were times where I almost felt like I had to go behind the symbolic curtain and just, like, even not smile, like massage my face, just to kind of recharge and not be on all the time. And I think I like your analogy of the battery of the smartphone. We all need to recharge our battery and have that alone time, or have that time with our innermost circle, whether that's family or your best friends, just so you can recharge your batteries and be on again.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
I'm cheering over here now. You said cheerleader. I've got my hands up. Yes, you're right. We
Doing
do.
spirit
Yes.
hands.
Right. Oh my goodness. Talk to us about your YouTube channel.
Oh, so
Yes.
I started the YouTube channel basically when I started conventions, which was the end of 2018. And I thought, well, I've got a camera and I've got a mic. I am going to start a YouTube channel and interview anime voice actors when I'm going to these Comic-Cons or going to anime conventions, and hopefully provide an insider's perspective to anime voice actors. Now, I've also interviewed artists and cosplayers and content creators, and I just think it's so much fun. I love hearing, it's what you do. You hear people's stories and you're so good at it. I love hearing your interviews, and I love hearing what you pull from people. I'm fascinated by the interviews that you've done. And so, it's just fun to hear people's stories. And then the way I do it primarily is when I go to the conventions, I interview people. But of course, I had to pivot during the pandemic. So I ended up doing a lot of Zoom interviews and releasing those. But I'm now about 3.5 years into it, and it's so much fun. And like this weekend, I was at a convention with so many cool people, and I happened to be there with some Dragon Ball Z actors and 3 of the actors from Peanuts. And so I interviewed one of the voices for Charlie Brown, one of the voices for Peppermint Patty, and I'd already interviewed one of the voices for Lucy. And so it was so cool just to hear their stories about being the voice actors from the Charlie Brown specials.
That is so cool. Not everybody can say they've done that.
Yeah, it was fun. It was
how neat.
Pretty cool.
How very cool. Talking through, you mentioned earlier that you do like to, of course, we talked about time blocking, but
Yeah.
actionable goals and different things.
Mhm.
Could you point out a positive adjustment or something that you've made in your life or environment that helps to support the growth of your or meeting those goals or achieving a dream? Is there some things that you could say, oh, yeah, that helped me implement this or get to that goal or to launch my YouTube channel?
Mm. Well, if we're talking about goals and actionable items, so I geek out over goals. That's another thing I geek out over. And from the time that my husband and I were engaged, we wrote out goals. And I got a little binder that's nerdy, and we have goals dating back to when we're engaged. But I think what has really helped is always having an awareness. Awareness is one of my favorite words in my life when I'm coaching, because it's just having an awareness of what you're working on. And sometimes you make a plan and you deviate, but you have the plan. And so he and I will sometimes just meet annually, or sometimes we'll call them little meetings. We'll meet weekly or monthly and just talk about what's going on in our business, because then we know how to support each other. Because if I don't know what he's doing, and then all of a sudden he needs to be in his office for 3 hours uninterrupted, it's a little harder because he's working from home right now. But if I
Yeah.
know what he's doing and what he wants to accomplish, it's a lot easier to go, yeah, we're not going to disturb you. You go, dude. And vice versa. So I think it's just having this constant, for me, since I'm married, it's having this constant conversation with him and constant awareness, and then reviewing the goals. And then I have certain people, like I recently started health coaching. And so I meet with my mentor and review goals with her. So it's doing those type of things. So you're always being intentional. That's another word that I really like, being intentional with what you're doing. Even if being intentional means you're sitting watching TV and relaxing with your family, at least you've made an intentional decision versus just watching for hours and hours because you're avoiding something. So I don't know if that answers your question, but I think just having an awareness and writing stuff down. I'm a big fan of writing it down versus just having it in your mind. And I mean, I'll give you an example in when I coach others. So when I coach private voiceover students, for example, I like to, every time we meet, whether that's monthly or weekly or every 6 months, I like to talk about successes that they've had and action items for the next time, so that there's always some forward moving progress, and you're not just saying you're a voice actor or an on-camera actor, you're actually making progress in your career. So it can be simple things or monumental things, but at least you're moving forward. At least I'm trying to move forward.
I love all of what you just said.
Oh,
Got awareness and intentionality and, moving forward. Okay, yes, done. Okay, everybody, we and that's a wrap. Oh my gosh, wow. Okay, so I've got to flip my paper. There we go.
okay.
Wow, fantastic. Thank you. Oh, that's great. This could be a two-part question,
Okay.
and it might be something you've got an example of more
Hmm.
present day. It might be something that all of a sudden you're gonna, you know, go back to the recesses. But was there ever a specific point in time? It could have been an event or key situation in your professional life that's forced you to take a monumental shift within your business or career. What
Mm.
was the result? And if it was positive or painful, how did going through that help you grow?
Ooh, well, the first thing that comes to mind, we've really touched on already. The monumental shift was when I left corporate America and took the risk to pursue acting. Like, that was just such a big thing for me. And it was worth the risk, and it totally changed the trajectory of my life. Now, I didn't think it was as monumental at the time, of course, but at the time, I also didn't know if I would pursue acting as a career forever, or if I would just see, I kind of just wanted to see what was next. And if it didn't work out, because I set goals back then, and when I had to meet certain goals and even certain financial goals, or it was just a hobby. And I would be okay if it was just a hobby, but I had to know. We did have, well, let's see, this was before I was married, but even when we were engaged, our pastor did premarital counseling, and he was the one that really brought up the idea of intentionality and living without regrets. And there were a couple of things, both before and after that, that I didn't want to live with regrets. So if I tried acting and it didn't work out, at least I tried it. And so, and for me, it turned out to be my career, which led to other things. But it was like one of the hardest things I did, but also fantastic for me. And it doesn't mean that it was easy, because I'm a hustler. I work hard. So I definitely worked hard, but I'm so glad I did it. And then the second monumental thing that I think we've all experienced is just pivoting during COVID. I mean, I think no matter what your job is, all of us have faced things during the pandemic that we didn't expect. And for me, my income was primarily on camera and voiceover work and coaching, but voiceover and on camera, when the pandemic hit, they went away. And voiceover picked up more quickly, but I still didn't have that on camera. And even coaching, I was used to doing in person, and I couldn't do that. So I kind of had to pivot and go, okay, so now I'm going to start coaching over Zoom. Now I'm going to add group classes. I'm going to figure out new ways to do voiceover work. On camera is still slower to pick up. So and then I've added more conventions than I had in the past. So it's just looking at ways to pivot and reinvent. It's almost like a lot of times I think of musicians as reinventing themselves. I mean, Madonna is the perfect person, I think, because over the years, she's reinvented herself so much. And I think we have to do that no matter what our business is, reinvent ourselves. So that's a more recent example. And I just joined a company to do executive coaching, and I'm about to launch my own business doing executive coaching. So that's another example of kind of pivoting when the pandemic changed everything.
Well, it's so exciting. Do you want to share any more on that while we have you, or is that to be shared later?
Well, some of it is to be shared later, but
Okay.
part of the executive coaching, you even read in the bio, I have done some on-camera coaching for companies like Standard & Poor's. So some of it is related to on-camera presence and being able to do teleprompter and do interviews when CEOs and executives get interviewed on CNN or MSNBC or whatever. And then some of it is also related to just team training, because I have the corporate background and also as an actor have been involved in so many corporate leadership training programs. And so I'm combining all of that experience and am in development on some training programs, not just with Atomic Training, which is a company I joined, but on my own. So it's a little bit of everything, but yeah, I will be making other announcements later.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you for
silhouettes.
asking.
Yeah, part two.
I like it.
Oh, we will be ready. Oh my goodness, my lady. I'm watching the clock, but I'm going to squeeze a couple more in here real quick if that's okay with you.
Absolutely. Yeah,
Okay,
I've got time.
super. Well, we all crave great resources that might help inspire, uplift, expand our minds, and I tease sometimes just get us through the day. So is there a favorite book or genre or resource, mentor, anything that you'd want to share with the audience that you have as a favorite?
Ooh, so many. But the first one that comes to mind based on what you and I have talked about is a book called The On Purpose Person. It's a super easy read, and it relates to being intentional, but the way he talks about it is being on purpose, of course. And he talks about breaking things down into different categories and just being on purpose. He uses a light switch as an example so that you're always asking, am I on purpose? And to go back to the example, you could be sitting on the couch doing nothing, and that could be on purpose because you're relaxing and you're recharging your battery. Or you could be working on your goals and redoing your website for a business you're launching, and that could be on purpose. And my husband and I discovered that we have read it out loud. Again, back to being nerdy, we have read it out loud to each other on an 8-hour drive to see his relatives in Arkansas. We have read it both separately, and it's just a book that we always go back to. We've bought copies and given it to our friends who are like-minded. So it's one of my go-to books.
Yes, it is. And that's a major endorsement, especially when we pass it on as a gift.
Yeah.
Right. When it's something that meaningful and that you have found value in, and you turn around and then go purchase to gift it, that's pretty amazing. All right. So we will include that in the resource section. Fantastic resource. Thank you.
Uh-huh.
All right, my lady. So the time has already come. Oh my goodness. It has been so awesome visiting with you today. And as we begin to wrap up, and you used one of my favorite words too, in keeping the promise to share intentional inspiration. Do you have a piece of key go-to advice that you'd like to share with the audience? Something that you cling to, or something that was shared with you or resonates with you?
Oh gosh. Be intentional and live with purpose are the two things that I cling to and share with my friends and with my students. Let me see if I have new things. I think those are my go-to things because that's what I live by. So I think I'm sticking with that, actually.
There you go. If I had a buzzer, ding, 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 like you're the winner. I think I'm sticking with that. I'm going to go with that answer. I love that. I love that. And it doesn't get more authentic than that.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. I mean, I love those, and they're simple.
They're
I mean,
true.
I hear so many other good things, but I always kind of go back to those. And then I've also shared, awareness is one of my favorite words.
Yeah. You've got to cling to the basics a lot. I think sometimes too many, it gets too flowery. We don't need that.
I think so. And one of my passions has always been, pursuing your passion, because that's what I did. And some of us can pursue our passions as a career. Some can do it as a side hustle, and then some can do it as a hobby. But just having something that brings that joy and inspiration to your life.
Perfectly said. Perfect. Okay, my lady, I have to let you go. I don't want to let you go. However, before we do, the stage is going to be completely yours. Where can our audience go to find and either connect with you or support you in your continued success? Feel free to share contact information or your socials. The stage is yours.
Well, thank you. Well, it's pretty easy if you can spell my name, because basically on every social media platform, I'm Elise Baughman. So maybe you can put that in the show notes, because that's hard to spell. EliseBaughman. So all my social media is Elise Baughman. My website's EliseBaughman.com. My coaching site's EliseCoaches.com. So if you can figure out the spelling, you can probably find me and Google me.
Awesome. And inside tip, all of her links will be in the show notes.
Oh, thank you.
So we're going to make it super easy for everybody.
Edited that out.
No, never. Nope, this is your show. This is about you. So, all right, my lady, it has been a genuine pleasure and fun and uplifting. Thank you for sharing your time and your silhouette of success with us. You are a true light and inspiration.
Well, thank you. Well, you are a light and inspiration, and I just appreciate what you do. And I know everyone listening appreciates you too. So thank you for having me. It was an absolute honor and pleasure to be on your show.
Well, thank you. And I will tell everybody, if you ever do need any coaching, call her. Reach out to her, because she took me from absolute nerve zone to getting through the situation. Still looking back on that, how did that happen? But that means you're the best. So there you go. So
thank you. Well, you were easy to work with.
Too kind. All right, my friend, enjoy. And until next time, because we do have a part 2, it sounds like. Have a good afternoon.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you for joining us on this episode of the Silhouettes of Success podcast. If you enjoyed the show, make sure you subscribe so you don't miss out on all the new episodes. We are here for you and with you. We encourage you to share this podcast on all your socials and pass on the like to help illuminate another silhouette of success. To find out the latest ways to inspire your heart, ignite your mind, and gain actionable insights, subscribe at thesilhouettesofsuccess.com or connect with us on Facebook, LinkedIn, and Instagram. We're grateful that you tuned in. Remember, you are exactly where you need to be, right here with us. This is the Amber Weitzer podcast, Silhouettes of Success.